Hi, this is Jason from Horrific Nightmares. Welcome back to the Fangoria Movie Challenge. Now, this is the segment I've been doing with my good buddy, Joe the Horror Man. We're not only going to watch, but also review all 101 movies Fangoria thinks we should have seen. Today, we're going to be talking about one of my favorites, The Keep. The Keep is a 1983 film which runs approximately 96 minutes and is written and directed by Michael Mann. Now, he is a pretty famous director. He was responsible for Manhunter, Collateral, and The Insider. Now, this stars Scott Glenn as Glacken. He was in Backdraft, Sucker Punch, and The Challenge. Ian McKellen as Dr. Theodore Kuza. He was in The X-Men, Lord of the Rings, and Gods and Monsters. And Alberta Watson as Eva Kuza. She passed away on March 21st, 2015 at the age of 60. She was in Hackers, Heartland, and Helen. Now, this had an $11 million budget, but only grossed $4,278,544. So, this was pretty much a fail. Now, this also has Gabriel Byrne in it, Jurgen Prochnow, of course, very young when they all were very young. Even Ian McKellen was quite young in this one. But I'll get to that in a second. First of all, I wanted to thank Craig for sending me this, because this is actually an Australian release of this film, and it was the first release probably since the Laserdisc. I believe this got released on Laserdisc, if I'm not mistaken, but it was definitely released on videotape, which is where I first saw it. It got released on Laserdisc, I'm pretty sure, and now DVD, which surprises me because Michael Mann has actually disowned this film. I don't really want to say too much about this film. This film is an experience. It's almost has a dreamlike quality to it, and I think that is partly because of the score done by Tangerine Dream. Everything in this movie fits so well, but it's had a number of problems. Like I said, Michael Mann disowned this film because he was pretty pissed off at at Paramount and every other person who worked on it, pretty much, because they neutered his vision of this film. Now, as I said, this movie is 96 minutes long. I do believe that's what I said. Yeah, 96 minutes long. This should have been 3.5 hours. And I would love, love, love to see that cut, but it will probably never happen, unfortunately. Now, I did see this when I was a kid. This has always been one of my favorites, and I actually went to the library and read the book. This was done by F. Paul Wilson. He also wrote The Tomb. Now, The Tomb is completely different. Now, that is a movie that was done in the later 80s, and I do believe it had Michelle Bauer in it, if I'm not mistaken, and maybe Sybil Danning. But that movie is a piece of garbage. This, on the other hand, should have been brilliant. And it is brilliant the way it is. It just leaves a little to be... There's a lot that hasn't been explained. And unfortunately, I'm pretty sure that ended up on the cutting room floor. What I can tell you about this film is that Germany wanted to use the keep as a stronghold in Romania. And what happens is, in this keep, there are crosses embedded in the walls made of, well, what they say is nickel, but there was supposed to be one that was made of silver. Well, the German soldiers that are on late watch actually find this silver cross and try to steal it, which releases evil power inside of the keep. Now, Scott Glenn, of course, plays Glacken, who is his whole mission in life is to keep that entity inside of the keep. Um, Now, when I was talking with Joe about this one, the odd thing about this film is there are no good guys in this film. I mean, I guess you could say Scott Glenn is a good guy, but he's really not. He's just there to keep the entity inside. There's just there's no good guys. There's just lesser evil, and you have the leader of the German army, who is not a very nice person, of course, and neither are the troops. But then, because there's so many deaths attributed to the entity inside of the keep, they call in the Nazis, the fanatics, and they're even worse. So there are no real good guys in this film, and to have that in a film, and the fact that it works, is, I think, a testament to this film. Michael Mann is a brilliant director. This movie is very, like I said, very dreamlike, and probably one of the most atmospheric films I've ever seen. The set pieces are beautiful. There's fog constantly. The special effects are, in my opinion, very effective for their time, and probably the best for their time. They spent $11 million on this in 1983, or probably 1982, because they had to film it. But, if that tells you anything about the level of, greatness that this movie could have achieved and should have achieved, if they wouldn't have, neutered Michael Mann. It's a shame. All right, I've babbled on long enough. My relatable recommendation. There's so many I could have picked, but the one that kept coming up in my mind when I was thinking about it is Death Watch. This is highly recommended if you haven't seen this film. This also takes place around World War II, and you have the English who take a trench over that was German occupied, and supernatural things end up happening. I don't want to get into any more than that. Jamie Bell is in this one, and Andy Serkis is also in this one. I actually rewatched it last night. I mean, you'll see this when it comes out, but the night before I recorded this video. And this is such a good film. Yeah. Check out The Keep if you can. I know they do play it on some streaming services, or at least they did. It's definitely a movie, in my opinion, that should be seen. Maybe someday we'll get the full uncut version. I doubt it, but I'm always hoping. Check out Death Watch. It's a really, really good, another atmospheric war horror film. And don't forget to check out Joe's review and see what he picked as a relatable recommendation. And if you like what you see in here, hit that like button and subscribe. And until next time, peace.